The 99 previous missions to conquer Vivian White had all failed. All of them had died. I was the 100th one. And also the longest survivor. It was all thanks to my procrastination that I had never met her face to face. If you don't start, how can there be failure? I just wanted to keep living. Every day was spent partying and dancing, blowing money like water. It wasn't until the 10th year that she finally found me. She couldn't tolerate it any longer and asked, "Why haven't you come to conquer me yet?" As someone tasked with the conquest mission, I was living a life that was both a success and a failure. The success was that the 99 before me had all pushed up daisies. While I was still alive and kicking, I'd even stuck around in this dangerous world for a full 10 years. The failure was that after 10 long years, I still hadn't officially met Vivian White even once. There was no real reason. It was just my severe procrastination. In the early years, the system would daily fire off those 3 killer questions. Why haven't you conquered Vivian White yet? When do you plan to conquer Vivian White? Isn't it time you went to conquer Vivian White? I'd always casually reply, soon soon. This time for sure, heading out right now. But as soon as the system looked away, I'd immediately slack off again, finding every excuse to push the plan to tomorrow. After a few years, the system stopped bothering to ask. Because my motto was hope always lies in tomorrow. From the first day I set foot in this world, I knew just how terrifying Vivian White was. Rumors said she had an incredibly alluring beauty, a gentle aura with a touch of fragility, creating a deadly attraction. Plenty of conquerors had been counter-conquered by her, willingly dying for her. They said her IQ and EQ were both off the charts. Her sharp eyes like the most advanced lie detector. No one could lie in front of her. Anyone who dared deceive her met a tragic end. After hearing all sorts of rumors, I summed it up: she was a scheming beauty. Beautiful, smart and ruthless. In the real world, I couldn't even flirt with cute girls, let alone trying to conquer someone like Vivian White. That was pure daydreaming. So as someone who could dawdle for hours just to take a shower, facing this tough target, I'd carefree procrastinated for 10 whole years. Before I showed up, the system had never encountered anyone as stubborn as me, so it hadn't bothered setting a time limit. Thus day after day I'd indulge in debauchery to cling to this world, living in utter luxury. Only the system was fuming every day. If I didn't start, I wouldn't die. And if I didn't die, the next one couldn't enter. This world would eventually grind to a halt because of me. Faced with my procrastination efforts, the system finally couldn't take it anymore, and rolled out a task deadline reform. Main quest: conquer Vivian White. Time remaining 1 year. Penalty for failure: deduct all life points. Honestly, looking at this brand new task panel, my heart wavered a bit, but not by much. The urge to struggle flashed for just a second. The next second I thought, might as well die and be done with it, but even dying felt too lazy. Might as well just lie around. Leave all hope for tomorrow. I just didn't expect tomorrow to come so fast. In the middle of the night, sleeping soundly, the room suddenly turned eerie and chillingly cold. I thought I'd forgotten to close the window, letting in the chill, but I was too lazy to move. So I just cracked an eye open briefly, then sank back into deep sleep. Theo Nolan. A clear, pleasant female voice rang in my ear. In my dream, my favorite game character was trying to break through the virtual real barrier, to come before me and call my name. I still shut tight. I smiled and replied, honey, I love you." A cold sensation like a snake slithered up my wrist. Right after that, I was yanked off the bed by an immense force. "How dare you take a wife already?" The woman gritted her teeth, jolting me fully awake. I stared wide-eyed. The woman before me had shoulder-length hair, cold eyes, slightly upturned at the corners, skin pale to the point of sickly. Her pupils held a lingering dark, killing intent. Terrifying, really, but beautiful too. Yet I racked my brain, and couldn't recall which wife this was. Just breaking dimensions to meet me and hearing me call someone else wife. It was a situation that made one break out in cold sweat. So I took a gamble and tried Tara Good Holly Sweet. With each name I called, her face darkened a shade more. "Looks like in the years I was absent, you've been living quite the playboy life, huh?" She stared at me, her gaze probing and dangerous, then growled each word: "Theo Nolan. I'm Vivian White." I sucked in a cold breath. "It's been 10 years, why haven't you come to conquer me yet?" She looked at me, her tone calm, like reminiscing with an old friend. But in this context it sounded even more horrifying. Like the uncanny valley effect when a virtual character awakens. I was scared to the point of trembling, not daring to look her straight in the eye. "Well, haven't gotten around to it yet. Actually, I'd thought if there was no time limit, maybe when I was old and decrepit, I'd give conquering a try." "Vivian White, huh? So when do you plan to conquer me? How about tomorrow?" "Sure, I'll be watching," Vivian White said with a smile. A cold smile that lingered on her lips, never reaching her eyes. At that time she didn't know yet. To me, tomorrow was an adjective, not a noun. It referred to a time that was coming but would never actually arrive. The next morning, I woke up as usual, but kept my eyes closed, sprawling on the bed. "Theo Nolan, who the hell is ruining my sleep this early?" I pulled the blanket over my head to sleep more. Right the next second, A pale icy hand flung my blanket off, then hauled me up by the collar. I screamed in terror. Shut up. The woman spoke coldly, her face full of impatience. If you don't want to be beaten, mute. I didn't doubt her words one bit. She absolutely meant what she said. I just didn't understand why Vivian White was really at my house. Last night wasn't a dream, was it? And Vivian White as if reading my every thought. She smirked lightly, her voice lazy. Oh. So you thought you were dreaming? No wonder you were so calm. I finally recalled that stack of documents I'd seen ages ago. First page, Vivian White female. Mind reading ability unlocked at 16. 10 years ago. The system had arranged a mind control course for me, to prevent me from turning into a live commentary machine in front of her. But I'd procrastinated and never learned it. Would it be too late now? Vivian White curled her lip. Mocking. Too late. You commentary canon with that. She slowly approached me, her eyes deep, carrying an indescribable implication. Then said, let me see what you've got. Conqueror. I looked at her face, then glanced down at her neck. Her vibe was very cold. Dressed casually but exuding a strange allure. The milky white spaghetti strap dress accentuated her pale skin even more, radiating a cool sensuality from her very bones. I swallowed, suddenly recalling a famous saying. Concealment is the bare landscape of the unknown. Someone like her made others fear the unknown, yet couldn't help but want to explore. Broad daylight. This isn't exactly appropriate, I asked, half threatening, half tentative. What's not appropriate? She replied flirtatiously. Outside the sky was overcast, the room dim and dark. I mustered all my courage, kneeling on the bed, reaching out to place my hands on her shoulders. She looked at me coldly, her gaze sharp, carrying a scrutinizing intent. In the end she let me pull her closer without resistance. I gently embraced her. This person, even her hug was cold. But she had a clean fresh white tea scent, really nice. Good tea, good tea. I buried my head in the crook of her neck, holding her a bit tighter. She didn't push me away. Just when I thought this was fine, a cold, emotionless electronic voice sounded in my ear. System checking conquest target. Vivian White's favorability 50. I startled and pushed her away immediately. Unbelievable. Is she human or ghost? Not increasing favorability is one thing, but deducting so much. Vivian White lowered her head to look where I'd hugged, brushed off invisible dust. Her tone disdainful. Conquest, huh? Afraid this isn't enough. If it's not enough, fine. Anyway, I had no interest in conquering a tough nut like her. From 50 to 100 is a whopping 150 favorability points. Even staking my life wouldn't fill it. Fine, if it's not working, might as well die. I flopped onto the bed with zero will to live, planning to pull the blanket over my head and give myself a grand funeral. She yanked the blanket off, her voice lowered. You want to die? I nodded in a whatever attitude. Yeah. You want to see me off? She said nothing, just reached out a hand to grab my throat, then slowly tightened. As she choked me, her face showed no emotion, like stepping on an ant. I couldn't breathe until the last bit of air was stripped away. My vision blurred, turning into a hazy white expanse. Just when I thought I'd become the 100th conqueror, to log out of this world, the cold, emotionless system voice sounded again. System checking conquest target. Vivian White. Favorability increased by 5. Current favorability 45. Too bad, I don't want you getting your way. Vivian White released me. I couldn't control my physical reaction, coughing violently, breathing ragged, looking just like a stranded fish about to die. She stood nearby with a faint smile, her expression utterly indifferent. That said, don't think dying in this world means you can return to the old one. She's a true sadist, choking me nearly to death, and yet favorability goes up by 5. I glared at her, wishing I could pounce and deal with her, but she was right. Before I'd assumed dying meant going home. That was naively insane. Your only way to survive now is to successfully conquer me and return to the old world. If you fail, I'll teach you how to spell death. So in my 10th year in this world, I finally officially started conquering Vivian White. Day 1, raining, couldn't go out. Day 2, scorching sun, didn't want to go out. Day 3, overslept, didn't bother going out. Half a month passed, I was still sealed inside by the door. Vivian White would occasionally call me, asking when I'd actually make a move, making me constantly on edge, anxious to the max. The more anxious, the more I procrastinated. The more I procrastinated, the more anxious, creating a perfect death loop. That day, I was sprawling on the bed pondering conquest taboos. The phone suddenly rang. I stubbornly ignored it for 5 minutes. In the end, I couldn't escape Vivian White's death calls. I picked up, struggling to say how to put it. Actually, per the original plan, I should have started by now, but due to various objective reasons, the plan's temporarily on hold. But I'm working hard to resolve it. Trust me, the next step's coming soon. She chuckled softly on the other end. I could even picture her expression right then. Definitely cold eyes, a mocking smile on her lips. Theo Nolan. Hearing her call my name, a bad premonition surged in my heart. If I don't see you today, prepare to go bankrupt, she said ruthlessly. Truly vicious. The way I lounged in luxury in this world was mainly thanks to that endless pile of money. Eating my fill daily and waiting for death. Making me bankrupt would hurt more than killing me. 3:40 a.m. Fully armed I appeared at Vivian White's door. Woken by me in the dead of night. She had a murderous look. I pretended not to see the killing aura. Held up the thermal lunchbox and said, I'm here to deliver food to you. Bringing food in the middle of the night. Theo Nolan, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? She glanced at the pink lunchbox in my hand. The killing aura on her face intensified. System checking. Vivian White's favorability decreased by 10. Current favorability 55. The food was cooked this afternoon. I didn't want to deliver it this late either. It was all because before leaving, ID casually skimmed a bit about Vivian White. The profiles of previous conquerors. 10 years ago, Vivian White was still a scrawny pale high school girl. No parents, not even a hot meal to eat. The 19th conqueror. Her desk mate had persistently delivered meals daily, raising favorability to 30. This was the one who went farthest on the path to conquering Vivian White. ID planned to use this trick to snag some favorability, but suddenly remembered for a Yandra type like Vivian White, delivering meals might make her recall her weak past days, and I might end up in trouble, so I had to scramble at the last minute, hurriedly flipping through profiles. The more I read, the more horrified. Vivian White's irritable spots were as numerous as a grumpy cat's sensitive points. My predecessors, always in one way or another, stepped on the mines scattered all over her. My smile was uglier than crying. Said, this is dinner, it's really good. Am I here to deliver food? No. I'm here to offer my life, more like. Are you afraid of me? Vivian White suddenly leaned close, eyeing me. A faint smile flickered in her light brown eyes. So mean. Indifferent, like a predator in the animal world. After the hunt. Leisurely toying with a dying prey struggling. Her stare gave me the creeps. So I silently sang in my mind, go or not. Worthy or not this tattered cloak. Lyrics from The Lonely Reader. Vivian White's face darkened as she snapped, shut up. I looked at her innocently. I didn't open my mouth. She sneered, even singing silently, you go off key. I didn't go off key. But I only dared to fume, not speak. Only daring to continue yelling inwardly. Who says only standing in the light makes a hero? Her voice icy. Try singing another line. I feared trying would mean croaking. So I didn't dare try. Just obediently stood at the door watching her turn inside. Winter cold and she wasn't wearing slippers. Bare feet on the floor like that. Aren't you afraid of joint pain? She turned back and glared at me. Got it, my inner voice annoyed her. I locked my thoughts tight. She pulled a chair and sat at the dining table, glanced at me from afar. Irritated voice, what are you standing there for? Aren't you here to deliver food to me? Under Vivian White's bone-chilling gaze, I held the pink lunchbox and slowly approached, then opened it in front of her. She looked at the dish and sighed, slightly frowning. I risked it and introduced this as green peppers. Stir-fried with beef, my specialty. Ms. White, give it a try. She was silent for a moment, then asked, you've read my entire profile, right? Of course I meant to say of course not. That stuff isn't meant for humans. Tougher than the first word. In an English textbook. Her birthday, age, blood type, zodiac sign. Likes, dislikes, strengths, weaknesses. Even how she learned English as a kid. Shed point with one finger. Only idiots would read it. Vivian White showed a slight disgust, but still picked up the pink heart-shaped spoon, scooped some and put it in her mouth. Her eating manner was incredibly elegant. As if what she was eating wasn't beef stir-fried with green peppers, but savoring a French feast. Standing nearby, I couldn't help swallowing. Is it really that good? Not good, she said. It wasn't good but ate with such enjoyment. System checking. Conquest target. Vivian White's favorability increased. Wrong, current favorability is 40. TSK. Why is Vivian White so easy to conquer today? Her face can blush too. Vivian White, usually aloof and transcendent, blushing like this. She looked a bit lethally charming. That contrast between cold and pure was top tier. Something's wrong. I rubbed my eyes and realized not just her face was red, but her neck and arms were flushed red in large patches too. And the redness was spreading. I pointed at her, panicking, Ms. White. You've got so many red rashes on you. I didn't poison you. Vivian White glanced at me. Utterly calm. I know I'm allergic to beef. 5:40 a.m. Doctors at the hospital took turns lecturing me. Allergies aren't something to joke with. Severe cases can be fatal. You kids these days. All day long only knowing love and romance. Not valuing life at all. And the main reason was Vivian White had dropped one line. Allergic, so what? This is the first time she's cooked for me personally. If I weren't the male lead in this story, I'd probably be fooled by her affectionate gaze too. After scolding me, the doctor softened a bit, leaving the room still muttering to the nurse. Youth these days. Once in love they don't even care about life. Only us two left in the ward. Vivian White lay on the hospital bed, eyes tightly closed, her face paler than usual, her whole being exuding a fragile, heart-wrenching melancholy. But I didn't forget she was a master of disguise. 10 years ago she'd used this pitiful pretense, making countless conquerors willingly die for her. History taught. Never ever soften for a woman like Vivian White. She asked hoarsely, what are you thinking? I pouted, don't you hear it all anyway? She paused. Her expression hazy and unpredictable, don't want to hear. Right now I just want to hear you say it. I was a bit annoyed, but unclear what I was mad about. You clearly know you're allergic to beef. Why still midway through? I suddenly choked up, because Vivian wide opened her eyes, staring at me, her light brown pupils, usually hiding deep malice, now unusually clear, reflecting only my image in their depths. Because you're the first, and the only one, who doesn't see me as a conquest target, being stared at so seriously by Vivian White. It was deadly, that gaze, as if I was her whole world, like a black hole, from which even light couldn't escape. Not to mention her face had fatal appeal, beautiful to a terrifying degree, making it impossible to look away. A thought flashed in my mind. If Vivian White was the conqueror, and I the target, I'd probably last no more than 3 seconds. Suddenly Vivian White waved, telling me to sit by the bed. I quickly waved off, scared. Standing's fine. She said nothing and grabbed my hand. I secretly tried but couldn't pull away. Her eyelids trembled slightly, hoarsely asking, so, do you want to try conquering seriously? Not as a mission target, but just Vivian White. While speaking she lightly rubbed my finger. Sweet, like coquettish, serious demeanor, tone a bit indifferent, intimate actions, eyes full of implication, totally cheating. Just as I was awkward, unsure how to react, Vivian White let go of my hand. She slightly raised a brow. Teasing tone, tsk Theo Nolan. You're really easy to conquer. This woman, I couldn't understand her. Nor could I resist. Infuriating. Vivian White's meanness didn't stop there. After discharge, she bossed me around even worse, turning me into a servant on call. 1 minute late and my stocks would tank immediately. I didn't dare procrastinate anymore. But every day was nerve-wracking, fearing one day I'd die with money still gone. Even worse, making me work like an ox was one thing, but favorability didn't budge. Over half a month passed. Her favorability barely crawled to 30. I still owed her 30 points. That early morning, she called me to the company. I wasn't late, but she wasn't there. Mr. Nolan, our Ms. White is in a meeting. Please wait here a moment. The secretary led me to the lounge, pouring water and bringing snacks. Thoughtfully closed the door on leaving, blocking the nosy eyes outside. I sighed. Lately, Vivian White's company was buzzing with scary rumors. Hey, did you hear Ms. White has a boyfriend now? I know. Heard her boyfriend visits several times a day. And Ms. White doesn't mind. Who's that impressive? Dunno, looks ordinary. Not as good as those stars chasing Ms. White before. If Miss Quinn finds out, she'll definitely cause a scene. Speaking of, I haven't seen Miss Quinn in ages. Ms. White banned her from the company, you didn't know. That dialogue I overheard by chance. At this rate, soon I won't be Ms. White's boyfriend anymore, but her husband instead. I scrolled my phone, bored waiting for Vivian White's meeting to end. Suddenly outside erupted in noise. A young girl's arrogant bossy voice rang clear. Is he in there? Move, let me in. Insolent, who do you think you are? Daring to block me? Watch me tell my sister, and get you all fired. Drama. I immediately perked up to eavesdrop, just as Khloe Quinn burst into the lounge, and met me right at the door. Eavesdropping. I spat out the half-chewed sunflower seed shell, waved at her. Greeting, Khloe Quinn. Long time no see. 10 years ago I was Khloe Quinn's desk mate. Back then I was mild and weak, often bullied. But Khloe Quinn said only she could bully me. No one else could touch me. From then on, I became her personal punching bag for venting assignments she didn't want tossed to me. But each time I finished for her, she'd dump a pile of snacks on my desk, ordering me to eat them all. Though she scolded me a lot, that sharp-tongued but kind-hearted style always gave me the illusion this young miss was utterly spoiling me. It's you. Her eyes shifted from rage to confusion, finally turning to fury. You bastard. Daring to seduce my sister. I tell you, she's mine. No one can take her. She blazed with anger, step by step closing in on me. I was about to explain, when I saw her whip out from her bag a gleaming dagger. Oh mom. I immediately bolted. Quinn went mad, charging at me, cornering me. Quinn went mad, lunging to pin me in the corner, her knee jammed tight against my leg, hand pressing hard on my shoulder, her cute face closest only about 10 centimeters away. If not for her dagger at my face, I'd probably exclaim, truly a stunning beauty. Her eyes crazed, tone full of madness. Your face clearly isn't as pretty as mine. Why does she only look at you, and not glance at me once? Just because you're a man. In that case, might as well ruin you completely. With that, she raised the dagger high to slash my face. In that hair trigger moment, I lunged to hug her waist tight, buried my head in her neck, used force to throw her down. The dagger flew to the corner. Khloe Quinn sprawled on the floor. I pinned her down firmly. She frowned tightly, silent, while I wailed in pain. My hands hurt so much earlier. One hand hugged her waist to cushion her fall, the other instinctively under her nape to prevent hitting the floor. Now both hands hurt like they're not mine anymore. Shut up, Khloe Quinn snapped so fierce. Should have not cushioned for her. Get up now, she said. I refuse to get off, Khloe Quinn. I'm a bit clever too. What if I get up? And she grabs the dagger to stab me. Khloe Quinn frowned even tighter. Her beautiful delicate face showed haze, pain, torment and complex expressions. Finally she couldn't hold back. Who are you? Why am I here? Wow, must have fallen and got amnesia. An idea struck, I said. Khloe Quinn. I'm Theo Nolan, your long-lost desk mate. She stared at me a while, then asked, Little Turtle. Khloe Quinn and I whispered softly. Alternating with laughter, I told her about the past, present, and even dreams. This cheerful atmosphere lasted until a woman entered the lounge. Vivian White's face darkened. She suppressed anger and snapped, Khloe Quinn, how many times have I said, without my permission you're forbidden from appearing before me? Khloe Quinn's eyes immediately reddened. I stood nearby, intervening. Don't be so harsh on your sister. Vivian White's eyes bone-chilling dark, like about to tear up. She sneered, I'm not allowed to be harsh on her. So only she can be harsh on you. Even without mind reading. I knew she was furious right now. Vivian White advanced a step. My head bowed lower by a fraction, nearly sticking my face to the ground. I wasn't harsh, I mumbled. Theo Nolan, sit down. Vivian White suddenly shouted from the corner of my eye. I saw Khloe Quinn grab the dagger from the floor, charging straight at me. She muttered, she's mine alone. I quickly hugged my head and crouched. A chaotic clamor erupted. I didn't mean to. I don't know why it came to this. When I looked up again, I saw Khloe Quinn, dazed, tossing the dagger aside, then sobbing as she ran from the lounge. Only Vivian White left standing there, her hand clutching her bleeding arm non-stop, expression dark and unreadable. After hesitating, I mustered courage, pointing at my head, carefully asked, Hey Quinn, is there something wrong up here? Vivian White glanced at me. She mocked, instead of worrying about others, worry about yourself first. Who just thought among us three am the third wheel? I guiltily bowed my head. Almost forgot she has mind reading. Now I'm a live commentary machine again. But I still couldn't understand why Khloe Quinn became like this. In my memory she was arrogant and willful, but still normal. Vivian White smiled faintly. Her light brown eyes held a cold insight into people. She mocked, not understanding is right. Because this is your game world. Once again I felt that intense wrongness. Like the uncanny valley when a virtual character awakens. I hurriedly wanted to change the subject. Looking at her wound, I said, you're bleeding a lot. Let me take you to the hospital now. Vivian White's face pale, looking haggard like a demon, her lips red and full softly. No need, not dead yet, temporarily. Theo Nolan, do you remember how you first came to this world? Of course I do. 10 years ago I lost both career and love, shut myself in day and night, madly burying myself in gal game worlds. All types, cute, cold, youthful, mature, pure, dramatic, dominant or adorable, gentle or distant, rebellious, white hair or black. ID tried almost every game. Until one day I got a mysterious invitation letter. Without thinking I tore open that black envelope. Out fell a letter and a small photo card. Pink paper, black letters edged in gold, with a few lines. Are you willing to teach someone who's never been loved what love is? Are you willing to embark with me on a love adventure? Or a humanity experiment? Are you willing to teach me truths beyond calculation, beyond reason and science? At that time I didn't pay much attention to those advertising words, because all my attention had been captivated by the girl on that small photo card. She had a frail, slender figure, her body covered in wounds, her hands bound tightly behind her back, but she still held her head high, her features exquisite and beautiful yet showing no sign of weakness. The unwillingness and struggle in her eyes seemed about to burst through the card, absolutely refusing to admit defeat. I immediately declared I'd been struck by love at first sight with her, flipping the card over. The back had a beautifully handwritten line. Do you want to cross the virtual real barrier to meet me? Yes, yes, yes. No otaku could resist the temptation of breaking dimensions. Without a moment's hesitation, I signed right away on that mysterious test agreement, along with the corresponding confidentiality commitments. And that's how I came to this world. 10 years later Vivian White stood before me. She still had that cold gaze, her tone calm as she asked me, Theo Nolan, am I just a toy to you people? My heart suddenly twisted in pain, because I suddenly glimpsed the silhouette of the girl kneeling on the ground 10 years ago. She seemed still imprisoned in that small card, still weakly resisting, refusing to surrender. I wanted to say something, but didn't know what to say. Can't deny it. When I first arrived here, I only saw this as a game, but how could she be a toy? Back then I came to this world because I loved her. System checking, conquest target. Vivian White's favorability increased by 30. Current favorability 0. The system notification suddenly sounded. I looked at Vivian White, blinking. Unbelievable. Finally the favorability was out of the negative, and she smiled. Not a cold smile, mocking or fake, though that smile was so faint it was almost invisible. But I didn't miss it. Truly beautiful, like snow melting at dawn. A beauty that could topple cities and nations. You can smile too, I blurted out my inner thought. The smile on Vivian White's lips faded, but the amusement in her eyes deepened. Theo Nolan, no more dawdling from now on. Conquer me properly. White, you stop being stubborn too. Let's go to the hospital first. With that, I hurriedly took her to the ER. Still that same doctor. Seeing as he fumed, eyes bulging, mustache bristling. Not playing the allergy game today, huh? Switch to knife play now. No idea. If Vivian White had started opening up to me. Lately favorability was skyrocketing. A greeting 1, sending a text 1. A phone call 1, going to a movie 1. Eating together 1. Strolling together 1, picking her up from work 1. +1 for chance encounters. Her favorability rose in a highly regular pattern. It even gave me the feeling of daily quest check-ins in a game. After 3 months of relentless effort, Vivian White's favorability was finally grinded by me to 32. No clue why the increases were regular, alright, but the deductions followed no normal logic at all. If I drew a line graph, you could visually see her favorability fluctuations like this. Up down 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 up up down down. The slightest slip and ID step on her minds. System checking conquest target Vivian White. Favorability decreased by 5. Current favorability 27. That day I hadn't even done anything yet. Just showed my face before her. And she blew up again. Stingy, I couldn't help cursing inwardly. System checking. Conquest target Vivian White's favorability dropped. Current favorability 17. Hearing the system alert, my vision went dark. Great, a whole month's effort down the drain. And Vivian White herself, wearing glasses, sitting at her desk, looking all serious, typing away. From the moment I entered till now, she hadn't even spared me a glance. Yet deducted so much favorability from me. The more I thought, the angrier I got. I stormed over to her side, dissatisfied, asking, "Why did you deduct so much favorability from me?" She didn't even look up. Kept typing, treating me like air. I reached out to block her screen. She paused briefly, but her slender pale index finger still flew over the black keyboard, quickly typing lines of code. I got even more furious. Directly plopped onto her desk, using my body to block the entire screen, and fiercely threatened, "If you don't give me a satisfactory explanation, don't even think of working more." Vivian White sat in her swivel chair. Her calm gaze behind the glasses rested on me. The room clearly had AC on. Yet I felt a heat rising inside. Vivian White's look with glasses really made one unable to hold back. Especially in office attire. Her whole being exuding a cold, abstinent allure. Vivian White's gaze rested on me again. Not a superficial skim, but locked on my lips. Then sliding down to my neck and thighs. Just when I thought something was about to happen, she let out an extremely light scoff. I was really mad now. Facts proved. When people are extremely angry, they're prone to do things they'd never dare normally, even for candy. In my rage, I grabbed her hand, questioning, "Why are you getting mad for no reason? And mocking me for no reason too?" Her face was stone cold. Her beautiful long phoenix eyes, slightly narrowed into a dangerous curve. That sharp gaze fell on my hands. She said hoarsely, "Theo Nolan, your fine hairs are getting thicker, huh?" I boldly replied, "Who's to blame when you're in my hands now?" Out of nowhere Vivian White asked me, "Who's Holly Sweet?" I froze for 5 seconds. Which Holly Sweet? Never mind. Her bizarre actions that caught one off guard. Basically, I don't know anyone named Holly. Vivian White's eyes grew colder. She pressed. 12:45 p.m. yesterday. Who said Sweet loves manga the most? I racked my memory for a long time. Finally recalled yesterday noon. Coming back from lunch with Vivian White, I spotted a comic shop by chance, and associated it with a game character who loves manga. I slowly turned my eyes to Vivian White. Her usually proud face now showed a slight unnaturalness. In my heart suddenly sprouted a extremely bold and ridiculous guess. Vivian White, she was competing for favor with my virtual game wives. I held back laughter. "Ms. White, don't worry. For now I've only broken dimensions with you alone. The other women don't threaten your position yet." Saying that, I couldn't hold it and burst out laughing. And that laughter just grew louder, damn it. But I completely forgot one thing. My hand was still gripping hers tight. With each laugh I squeezed her wrist more. Vivian White softly hissed in pain. I quickly let go. But it was too late. Vivian White's face flushed red, leaning back in the chair. Her eyes blazed with anger, faintly teary too. I couldn't help associating with those plum and peach scenes in films. Office uniform, glasses. The woman usually high and mighty, cold and abstinent. Now with the door closed, letting me do whatever. If ignoring Vivian White's personality and danger, her looks and figure were made for the office. Suddenly a cold system alert sounded in my ear again. System checking conquest target. Vivian White's favorability increased by 5. Current favorability 22. Like deducting, go ahead. Not much left anyway. Wait a sec, my eyes widened. Seems the system said increase. Is she a true masochist? Vivian White smiled faintly. Her slender pale fingers slowly traced my throat. Suggestively, "Theo Nolan. Only now I know, so you like this style." I swallowed, totally not daring a word. "Theo Nolan. Do those others treat you like this normally?" "Huh, which others?" "Tara, good Holly Sweet. With each name she called, my heart skipped a beat. How does she remember my virtual wife's names so well? And her current actions feel off somehow. Vivian White removed the black silk scarf from her neck, then tied my hands. Done, she leisurely asked. Besides conquering me, how many more good wives do you have? I looked at the scarf, tightening my wrists. Tying a scarf? No. Tying my little life. With strong survival instinct I rushed. None left. Those are just virtual characters. Not what you think. Vivian White looked up, staring at me sitting on the desk with bound hands. Virtual wives aren't allowed either. I don't like sharing. To conquer me, only true feelings for true feelings. She tightened the scarf end, pulling me toward her. In this situation, of course I wouldn't stupidly say, I give true feelings to every virtual wife. Moreover, Vivian White's face right now was inches away. That beauty truly mesmerized. Along with those beautiful light brown eyes, both scrutinizing and provocative. So I could only flusteredly babble, Ms. White, isn't this a bit ambiguous? What do you think, I am a decent guy? No ambiguous games, then no more ambiguity. She released her hand, then indifferently backed away, keeping distance. Her pleasant white tea scent faded away with her, making me suddenly feel a not so light loss. The next second, she switched positions, pressing me against the desk edge. Be my boyfriend, she said, shock after shock. She scared me nearly to meet my ancestors. Not done. Her next action made me want to soul scatter. Aren't you always racking your brain on how to conquer me faster? Let me teach you. Her hot breath and teasing tone poured into my ear, numbing me all over, stimulating every cell to surge wildly. She even playfully nipped my nape. Another cold system alert sounded in my ear. System checking. Conquest target. Vivian White's favorability increased by 10. Current favorability 32. But that alert faded quick, and I had no mind to care anymore. Because Vivian White was whispering like a demon in my ear. If you want, call the cops. No one escapes a demon's gaze. Plus she had a top-tier body rivaling an angel. I struggled less than 2 seconds before obedient instantly. I should have hugged her gently tight. She was always cold. But now the embrace was strangely scorching. Her laugh sounded in my ear again. Yen. She called my name like a demon's whisper. The jacket's a bit hot. Help me take it off. I could only play the servant role fully, helping her undress, offering total loyalty. In my 10th year stepping into this world, also day 206 of the Vivian White conquest mission, I officially became her boyfriend. Say it, no one would believe. I was Vivian White's first love, though she had a face like battle-hardened, but occasional clumsiness still unwittingly revealed newbie traces. However, those traces faded with intensive practice conquest sessions. The deeper I sank, the more addicted, obsessed to the point of no escape. Not just her beauty or body, but every word gesture of hers. White was a madwoman, and an extremely patient one. No matter how I dawdled, she never urged, just silently stared at me. That gaze like a silent purification, both scrutinizing and inviting. That look always made me recall the hidden corners I'd madly explored under her wordless supervision. My procrastination halved, and I often forgot my conqueror identity, simply seeing her as girlfriend. After all, she said only true feelings exchange true feelings. Moreover, she treated me almost unconditionally indulgent. You're my boyfriend. If not good to you, then who? Hey, this is a reward. Want something? Come get it yourself. Think less, do more. She always indulged my every demand, letting me run wild. Of course, if the reward she wanted could be moderated a bit, that'd be great. Day 101, officially her boyfriend. Her favorability stuck at 80. For the past half month, no matter what I did, whether coaxing her happy or teasing her mad, that favorability number neither rose nor fell. This felt just like playing an offline game to the final stage, but never unlocking the key ending. Main quest: conquer Vivian White. Time remaining 58 days. Failure penalty: deduct all life points. The system still daily sent task reminders. Watching time dwindle, I started spiraling into avoidance and procrastination again, no longer appearing before her on time daily, nor bothering to rack my brain on what she truly liked. Instead, I shut myself in the small room, day and night flipping through Vivian White's data. Stuff I'd always avoided before. The ups and downs she'd endured in life. She lost her father young, depending on her mother. At 5 her mother passed too. From then she began days of freeloading with relatives. Shunned, misunderstood, and abused. If this world was a large-scale game, she was the protagonist, besieged by all malice. Friends bullied, family abandoned. At 16 the father who reclaimed her dragged her around, dunking her underwater 6 times. He even pointed at her face, cursing, bastard child. Growing up for her was like a sealed cocoon, seeming endless. The scant kindness that appeared in her life, mostly faked by conquerors. Reading these lines, my mind always harbored one question: what perfect ending would match the battered ups and downs she'd traversed? But the system never said. What happens to her after successful conquest? These days, even closing eyes, I saw her at 26, who'd broken all barriers with me, trapped in that tiny photo card. I continued shutting myself in, sprawling like a salted fish, not bothering with anything. True salted fish style. What I didn't want I'd procrastinate forever, until Vivian White came to the house, hauling me up from bed by the collar. I stared with dead fish eyes, looking at her blankly. Theo Nolan, you should change your name to Theo Come Back to Life. She said. I kept those dead fish eyes, looking at her emotionless. She burst laughing, pinching my cheek. So cute. I glared with dead fish eyes, blazing anger, staring at her. Theo Nolan, she called my name, tone full of seriousness. Her light brown pupils clear clean. No lies, no schemes. Only my silhouette quietly reflected in her eyes' depths. Do you want to stay here for me? She asked, gently stroking my head. I silently didn't answer. But in 01 seconds, the first thought flashing in my mind, she surely heard. A cold system alert suddenly sounded in my brain. System checking. Vivian White's favorability increased by 1. Current favorability 81. Right after 82, 83, 84. She looked at me calmly. The suspicion I'd long harbored, finally confirmed. Indeed, she could control her own favorability. An intense sense of loss hit. We have so much left undone together. No more increasing favorability. I frantically yelled. Favorability skyrocketed. Current favorability 100. She mimicked the system voice, smiling satisfied. Stop right now. Please, I screamed, voice breaking. Nyen dear, tell me why you love me so much. Her tone light and easy, totally contrasting my despair. System checking. Conquest target Vivian White. Favorability increase alert sound. Current favorability 99. Don't go. I want to be with you forever. Too bad that sentence didn't finish. I was ejected from that world. Day 321 of Vivian White Conquest mission. As the 100th task performer, ID outstandingly completed the task. Conquered Vivian White successfully. Before me was a long dark tunnel. Clapping thundered in my ears like storm. I strained to open eyes and see clearly, but only saw blurry figures in white lab coats surrounding me. Then I passed out, losing all consciousness. When I woke again, I quietly listened to the researcher explain the current situation. He said the 10 years in my conquest world, in real life, had only been 1 month, and their research on this test subject had been a resounding success. I blinked a few times, took a while to slowly realize. The test subject they meant was Vivian White. I nodded, asking, so where is she now? The researcher's face suddenly full of regret. He softly, gone what? Gone after you exited the task world. She self-initiated destruction protocol. But no worries. This experiment of ours collected all needed data, recorded the entire AI emotion generation process. Everyone in this lab is immensely grateful for your contributions to science. My mind couldn't process what he said. Only one thought left: Vivian White is gone. A white void overwhelmed my brain. I yanked out the 4-needle, madly ran out. The vast lab. People everywhere. Those in white lab coats. Just before I charged out the window to jump down, timely pinned me to the floor. Seems the doctor was injecting me some drug. Task performer psychologically unstable. Needs intensified close monitoring. A young female voice coldly rang from the crowd. Sounded somewhat unfamiliar yet familiar. I blinked lightly. The woman squatted before me. In those beautiful light brown pupils, icy without emotion. This person had slim eyelids, slightly upturned eyes. Skin pale, almost sickly. Clearly looked identical to Vivian White. But she seemed not to recognize me. But I suddenly recalled, in the last second before exiting the task world, Vivian White said to me, idiot. Take good care of yourself, then mouthed silently. Those mouthing lips looked like saying wait for me. I didn't know if it was real hallucination or lie. Just knew days were foggy-headed. Heart replaying Vivian White's image over and over. Especially before leaving that world. Her last gaze at me. So deep, as if I was her whole world. I still couldn't understand why she pushed me out of the task world. From what I knew of her before, she'd surely only drag me down the mud with her. How could she do the righteous act of sending me out? The stark white ward. Daily various researchers and doctors visited me. They said I had depression, anxiety, or something similar. But that didn't matter. I was still finding every way to escape this ward. Though unclear after AI dies, if it can go to the same world as humans. But I always felt anything better than now. I'd neglected myself too long. Procrastinating, numb. Sprawling, ignoring life. Hard to be human once. How could I resign to that empty world? Just as I prepared to climb the bathroom window, a pale cold hand grabbed my collar tight. You want to die, yeah? You want to see me off? I nearly choked up. Because before me was a deeply familiar face. The woman said nothing, just extended a hand, slowly caressed my cheek, lightly rubbing, gentle, like coquettish. And those light brown eyes too. In those clear pupils, only me, quietly appearing. Indeed, seeing you off, but off back home. I hadn't asked details yet. Was brought back to the ward by Vivian White. Just one glance. I could confirm this woman was Vivian White, not the researcher Stella White on the name tag. Though unclear what happened, But Vivian White truly hadn't died. Shed stepped from virtual to real world. After knowing she hadn't died, I continued sprawling in enjoyment. Like a carefree salted fish, everything tasted good. The Institute researchers buzzed that I was so grief-stricken. I'd gone mad. People laugh at my madness. I laugh at people's blindness. From what I knew of Vivian White, once in this world, she'd surely do something. The quieter she was, the bigger the change brewing. As a lazy salted fish accessory, I just needed to stay silent, eat and sleep regularly daily, not making her worry. That was the biggest help for her. Of course, occasionally I eavesdropped a bit, sneakily probing who Stella White really was. The researchers were very tight-lipped about her, but in their eyes, I was an unstable mental patient, so they didn't guard, and told me tons. Stella White, young and talented, expert in both brain and artificial intelligence fields. She initiated this whole project, from Vivian White's appearance figure to initial personality and entire life, all compiled by her and the team single-handedly. In a sense, she was Vivian White's mother, and another Vivian White in this world. After getting this insider info, my gaze at Vivian White grew more complex. Stella White's body and Vivian White's consciousness. In a sense, isn't this a kind of NTR? In this world, Vivian White had no mind reading, but somehow, she still saw through my thoughts with one glance. She sneered, said, "Clear those dirty thoughts from your head." I pouted. Clearly I hadn't thought dirty yet. No idea why. I suddenly missed her mind reading. In the task world, if now she saw in my head, full of indescribable images, then even without handling this or that, there'd be handling that or this, right? Vivian White reached to pinch my face. "Wait a bit more. After this hurdle, I'll indulge you properly." I hadn't asked what kind of indulge. A light, gentle kiss nearly stole my soul. "You've been so good lately. This is a reward." I asked Vivian White how she transmigrated to this world. Each time she just smiled, then mysteriously, "Not telling you yet, lest you think your brain to pieces. So annoying. Not telling makes me think even more." But she ruffled my ear. Softly, but I succeeded. "Thanks to you. Thanks to you," crying, saying, "Can't bear leaving me, and wanting to be with me this lifetime. Gave me motivation, yen, so good. Must reward." She always liked that, loving to whisper in my ear. Each time I couldn't hold back. Gradually I immersed in it, no longer bothering to think. 2 weeks later, a massive fire erupted in the research institute. Since the blaze started midnight, except lab data burned clean. No human casualties. Hearing this news, I rushed to the woman standing nearby. Asked, "Was it you?" She nodded. Casually, "Clearly you weren't at the scene. How could it be me?" Secret, no matter how curious I was, or how stubborn. She refused to utter a word. Just time after time with me reviewing tasks. Reviewing what we'd done. My consciousness and senses gradually softened. Amid surging emotions peak, she softly, "Nyen. From now on we're truly free." Vivian White's side story, if you knew your whole life, was just a script written by others, what would you do? I'm not a normal person from very early. I had a very strange feeling. Always felt like growing in a transparent glass jar, and outside was the real world. Do normal people read minds? Just one glance, I could see through humans' utmost complex nature. The neatly dressed moral man secretly beats his wife at home. The prestigious elite, head full of filthy tricks. The penniless vagrant always aches to do good. But no matter humanity's myriad forms, what does it matter to me? I just see it. Even my own fate. I felt it didn't concern me much. This thing called humans is hard to understand. Sad then cry, happy then laugh, slapped then angry, given candy then happy. I researched and imitated long, but never understood the basic logic behind those behaviors, until I met her. A woman looking very like me. In this world, she was the only one I couldn't read. She appeared inexplicably, then vanished strangely. Seemed she understood me well. My preferences, from personality to talents, she knew like the back of her hand. At 4 I met her first. She said, "White, you're my pride." At 5 I lost my mother. She asked, "White, why don't you cry?" At 10 I killed a pet. She said, "White, this is life." At 13 I lost my only friend. That person asked, "White, why still don't know sadness?" Heaven knows how annoying I found that person. Wished to deal with them each sighting. But I just bowed silently. Control and endurance, my first life lesson. Mastered to perfection long ago. At 16 I met the first conqueror. He said, "Vivian White, you must learn to love." They were always say one think another. Outward pretending to offer everything to me, but really wanting to take something from me. Why not increasing yet? Clearly she's very happy. Why favorability deducted? The so-called favorability in their mouths was a toy I never tired playing with. I loved seeing humans' fake appearances. Is this what's called emotions? I played till forgetting fatigue. When the 99th conqueror logged out, I still understood nothing of so-called emotions. But no matter. I wasn't that curious anyway. People in this world were just toys to me. Thus I quietly waited for the 100th conqueror's appearance. But unexpectedly this wait lasted 10 years. So long I thought he'd never appear. Until one day I passed a guy. Heard his inner voice host. You should go conquer Vivian White, I know. Definitely tomorrow. I turned back seeing a guy's back. Suddenly recalled many years ago. I asked that woman why I could read minds. The reason's complex. Just understand simply as a companion born with this world for you. Your video's great. Next time I scroll you will definitely gift coins. No, definitely will. Lucky you didn't gift coins. Gifting would ruin your life. So I'll exit now, okay? Will we meet again? Definitely we'll meet sometime. Be happy, okay? Bitch Dow, remember to like. Remember to gift coins. Okay, like it. Gifted coins, scroll next video. If not scrolling me later, no problem. Remember to gift others coins, bitch Dow. Bia, why do you force me to live like this? Bia, this illness of yours. Possess me, haha.